Hi everyone, this is Kyne back here with CBC Life for another makeup tutorial, and it's the holiday edition. I've been seeing a lot of different people take on the Grinch makeup, and so I wanted to put my twist on it without all the green face paint. So this is more the Grinch if you were like an old, glamorous Hollywood star that's saying goodbye to the best years of her youth. I love the Grinch. I feel like I relate to him, but I think I just like every cartoon villain in every movie. Don't you kind of think they're just always more funny and more interesting? So I wanted to pay homage to the character while still doing something a little bit different with it. So if you want to see how I did this makeup, then just keep watching. Okay, so I'm starting this look off by prepping our base. So I'm gluing down my eyebrows using some Pros-Aid adhesive with a brow spoolie and a popsicle stick to keep my fingers clean. And when this step is done and the brows are flat, I'll powder it using a translucent powder. And the purpose of this step is just to give us more of a free blank canvas where we can draw any shaped brow we want, which comes in handy later on in the tutorial. What you see here is a color correction. I use a little orange peach cream color to neutralize the grayness around where I have some facial hair. I think every elaborate makeup look always goes through this ugly looking phase before it looks pretty. Kind of like my childhood. I'm still waiting on the part where I get pretty. So next you'll begin by applying the foundation, and I use full coverage foundation from MAC with a flat top kabuki brush, and I just buff and stipple that into my skin. And then I'll contour using a similar foundation, just in a darker shade. You'll see I've added 3 stripes along my temple, my cheekbones, and jawline, and I just blend it in using the same foundation brush. For the nose, I'll want a little more precision. I'm using a foundation now that's lighter than my skin and highlighting the bridge of my nose with a tiny little lip brush, and then I hug it with the darker color. So the idea is to create an illusion of a thinner, more defined nose. And then with more highlight color, I etch out the highlight of my eyebrow, which will be quite a bit more arched than my natural eyebrows. So what we're doing is we're plotting the highlights and contours of our new face, I guess is what you can call it. It's a new face where the features are more bold and more graphic. I set everything with a translucent setting powder and a powder puff once more, and then I just sweep off the excess with a large powder brush. So now let's work on the eyes. I start out by emphasizing the white highlight of my brow bone with this white foundation powder from MAC. It looks very extreme, I understand, but that's because I want the arch to remain highlighted enough that it balances out the drama that we're about to put on the eye. So let's apply a matte green eyeshadow with a large fluffy brush all throughout the eye socket in some windshield wiper motions to start us off. And then my next step is to draw my winged liner. What I do is draw these 2 initial lines that define the angle and the height of the wing, and then I just connect them with a straight line and color inside the lines. It's really that easy. But you know, everyone's eye shape is going to be different. One of the most common remarks I get when people compliment my makeup is they say, "Oh wow, I can't even do my winged liner." But I mean, if you do your makeup as often as I do, you really develop a methodology and I think a muscle memory too. The next step is to cut out an eyelid, and the so-called cut refers to that sharp edge that we want to create between the eyelid and the crease. So I want the green to face this sharp edge cut crease against the eyelid, but I want it to be completely diffused and blended in the other direction against the eyebrow. So my method of doing that is to start by blending it pretty messily with that blending brush that we did in the first step, and then defining that sharp cut with concealer, which is what I have on my brush here. You might want to blend it in with some green so it's not too sharp. What I'm doing next is adding a little bit of black eyeshadow to the area where the crease, liner, and lid all intersect. So I'm almost blending my black eyeliner into the green eyeshadow at this border where they all meet. I think it looks more smoky this way, and you know, I tend to think it's just more interesting to look at an eyeshadow job that has all these different moving parts. I love the artistry of it all. What you see here is me applying a glitter adhesive to the eyelid where we put that cut crease. You know, I really could not resist not putting glitter on this lid. It just makes it pop from a distance, and after all, what really is a holiday look without any glitter? I'm taking some white cream paint and putting some white eyeliner right in the inner tear duct and below it as well to open up the eyes a little bit and extend them inwards and downwards. And you want to make sure to set this with white powder so it doesn't smudge. And then underline this using black first and green second. So black is to define it and green is to make it cohesive with the color scheme we have going on in the top part of the eye. So that's the eyeshadow pretty much fully complete. Let's move on to the rest of the face. I've decided to draw our brows with liquid liner because I really wanted to do cartoony character brows like a Disney villain's. So I just went along with a template that we created in the beginning, but in the front of my brow, I curl it upwards a little bit so it looks like I'm a little grouchy and like furrowing my brow. And because the Grinch is a little bit more hairy, I did some flicks of the brush to make it look like these brows are bushier and thicker, more like his. So now comes time for the nose, which I drew using more liquid liner, and we all know what the Whoville nose looks like. It's this small, turned up little button nose. So the next step for me is blush, which I've chosen to opt for this berry plum color. I wanted something that would almost age me a little bit. And then I'm going to use some brown eyeshadow. A matte bronzer would also be sufficient. And I'm going to start creating some wrinkles, especially along the nasolabial folds, which is the name of that line that goes down from the sides of your nose down to your mouth. When you're doing an inspired makeup look and not an exact replication, you have to be creative and decide how much of the original character you want to be borrowing and how much of your own concept you're putting into it. So clearly lots of this resembles how I normally do my makeup, with the foundation, the eyeshadow, the blush, and I'm sprinkling in a couple of the Grinch's most prominent features, like the bushy brow, the nose, the wrinkles. A simple way to see where the wrinkles should go is just to make a bunch of facial expressions and just draw where you see the lines. Here, before I do my lips, I forgot to extend the little snout downwards. Now I could have opted for a green lip, but I decided to go with red instead, and I just outlined my lips with lip liner and filled them in with a matte liquid lipstick. Add any finishing touches, a new wrinkle here or there. Here's my contacts in, and finally I'm adding my falsies, which are a couple of different pairs stacked together to create a fuller effect. So this is how the finished look turned out, you guys. Moving a little bit closer, you can really get a better look at all of those lines and wrinkles. So it's really up to you how graphic you want to make all of those lines and how delicately you want to walk the line between campy and glamorous. But I love the way that this look turned out. If you want to see more makeup tutorials like this one and some hair tutorials, sewing tutorials, a lot more videos like this, you can head on over to my channel on YouTube at onlinekyne. And be sure to follow CBC Life for more content like this. But until I see you guys next time, I hope you guys have a really happy holiday. Bye!